Sasha probably fucking thought he was hot shit after winning the French Open. But today, I reminded him that he's nothing more than a pathetic little bitch, a cuck, who will spend the rest of his career watching me and Carlos lift Grand Slam trophies in his face. It took him 5 sets to take down an absolute clown like Flavio Cobolli. Sasha's not worthy of drinking the broth from my fucking underpants. So today, when I showed up to the All England Club and saw that Stalin-worshipping, vodka-chugging, Sputnik piece of shit across the court from me, I laughed my ass off because I knew I'd win. And sure, Sasha got lucky in the first set tiebreak, but in the second set, I turned right around and bitch slapped him like he was his ex-girlfriend back in Berlin. After I won the tiebreak 7-2, the rest of the match, he bent over, presented his butt cheeks to me, and just accepted the fact that he is my personal bitch. Dog walked him 6-3, 6-4 in the third and fourth set. It was an easy win over an inferior opponent.
There is a version of Jannik Sinner that the world saw 6 weeks ago, and it was not the version anyone expected. Paris, a heat wave rolling over the clay, a 30-match winning streak on the line, and the best player on the planet, 1 game from victory, suddenly folding under the sun like a man who had forgotten how to win. The opponent was ranked 56, almost nobody, and yet he walked off that court the victor, while Sinner walked off broken, his streak shattered, his aura cracked wide open in front of the entire tennis world. What followed was silence. Sinner disappeared from the tour. He went back to Milan for medical tests, the kind of tests that spark rumors, that make people wonder if a career built on relentless physical dominance had finally found its limit. Weeks passed. No matches. No statements that settled the nerves. Just a champion, somewhere out of sight, trying to put himself back together. Then the grass of Wimbledon called him back. It did not welcome him gently. His opening match turned into a brutal 5-set survival test, the kind of match that ends careers of confidence rather than bodies. Twice he fell behind by a set. Twice the exit door swung open in front of him. And twice he refused to walk through it, dragging himself back into contention through sheer will until he finally closed out. It was messy. It was far from perfect, but it was a win. And sometimes that is all a broken champion needs to start believing again. From that moment, something clicked back into place. Sinner did not drop another set for the rest of the tournament. He steamrolled through round after round, and when Novak Djokovic, arguably the greatest player the sport has ever produced, stood across the net from him in the semifinal, Sinner brushed him aside as if the years of Djokovic's dominance meant nothing at all. It was a statement. Paris was the past. This was the present. Standing in his way, Alexander Zverev, a man riding the high of his very first Grand Slam championship, 1 week earlier at the very tournament where Sinner had collapsed. The belief that this could finally be his moment. But hovering over every step he took was a number that refused to disappear. 10. 10 consecutive matches, 10 consecutive losses, 14 straight sets, surrendered without a single win in return. If Zverev wanted to become a true rival at the top of men's tennis, this was the match where that story had to change. For most of the afternoon, it looked like it might. The two men traded blows like heavyweights, Zverev's serve detonating across the net at speeds nearing 140 miles an hour, Sinner countering with pinpoint placement rather than raw force. The first set stretched all the way to a tiebreaker, and there Zverev finally broke through, ripping a forehand winner up the line to steal the set. He roared toward his team, a release of built-up pressure, a signal that maybe, finally, this was going to be his day. It nearly was, but Sinner adapted the way great champions adapt quietly and ruthlessly. In the second set, he began timing Zverev's serve with uncanny precision, reading its direction like he could see it before it was struck. Zverev's forehand, so dependable all match started to crack under the tightening pressure. The second set tiebreaker slipped through Zverev's fingers, and the match was suddenly level, the momentum swinging hard in Sinner's direction, with a stadium full of royalty and celebrities watching every shift. Then, in the third set, tied at 3 games each, deep into a battle that had already stretched past 2.5 hours, disaster struck. Zverev finally carved out his first break point of the entire match, a golden chance to seize control. Sinner threw down a delicate drop shot, and Zverev sprinted forward to reach it, only for his foot to slide out from under him on the damp grass. His knee twisted violently as he tried to change direction, and he went down clutching it in visible pain. For a moment, the entire tournament seemed to hang in the balance, not because of a scoreline, but because of a body that might have just given out at the worst possible time. Sinner crossed the net immediately to help his rival back to his feet, a rare moment of tenderness inside a fierce rivalry. Zverev tried to continue, tried to push through whatever damage had just been done, but his movement had changed, a slight hesitation creeping into every step. Frustration boiled over when he missed a forehand and hurled his racket across the baseline. Sinner took the break, 5-3, and from there, he never loosened his grip. He served out the set, then dominated the fourth, closing in on history with the same composed precision that had carried him through the entire fortnight. And then, almost poetically, it happened. A forehand winner ripped up the line, the exact same shot that had won Zverev the first set of the match. Except now it belonged to Sinner, and it sealed his 5th Grand Slam title. He did not pump his fist. He did not scream toward the sky. He simply fell backward onto the grass, arms outstretched, as if the weight of the last 6 weeks needed somewhere soft to finally land. It marked back-to-back Wimbledon titles for the Italian, and it completed a stunning reversal of fortune from a heat-stricken collapse in Paris to complete command on the lawns of London in under 2 months. A year before, he had needed to survive squandering 3 match points in a different final just to lift this same trophy. This time, there was no late scare, no final twist of nerves, just total control, delivered exactly when it mattered most. Zverev leaves with a sore knee, and another painful chapter added to a rivalry he simply cannot solve, his losing streak against Sinner now standing at 10 straight matches. Still, there is a silver lining waiting for him, a ranking jump past Carlos Alcaraz into the world second spot come Monday. Alcaraz himself was absent from this entire chapter, missing both the French Open and Wimbledon this year while nursing a wrist injury, watching from the sidelines as 2 other rivals fought for the throne he once seemed destined to hold. His absence left a gap at the very top of the sport, a gap that Sinner and Zverev spent an entire fortnight trying to fill with a rivalry all their own. And there is another story unfolding on the same lawns that weekend, a quieter one, but no less meaningful. A day earlier on the women's side, Linda Noskova had claimed her first Grand Slam title in an all-Czech final against Karolina Machova, a reminder that Wimbledon's grass has a way of turning unfamiliar names into champions almost overnight. But the story of this Wimbledon belongs to one man, not because he never fell, but because of how far he climbed after he did. 6 weeks separated a collapse in the Paris heat from a coronation under the London sky, and in that short, brutal stretch, Sinner rebuilt not just his form, but the very belief that had seemed to abandon him on that clay court in May. Champions are not defined by the moments they never stumble. They are defined by what they do the very next time they step back onto the court. And on that afternoon at the All England Club, with a rival's knee buckling beneath him and history staring him in the face, Jannik Sinner answered that question in the only way that mattered. He won.